Hi y'all, it's Kimberly here. Thank you for coming to my channel. Well, today in West Texas here, it's a really dusty, windy day. It's really horrible weather today. My allergies are acting up. My eyes look a little watery. My throat, I might cough. I may have to edit this video a little bit because the wind and the dust is probably about 30 miles an hour. It's really getting to me. And no, I'm not crying. It's a sad video. Really is a sad video that I'm fixing to do. It's about the Kevin and Ruby Franke situation. Kevin has filed for divorce. And if you don't know who Kevin and Ruby Franke are, I'll go through a little recap so you can catch up on it or get to know it. Kevin and Ruby Franke were a family vlog channel on YouTube, and it was called 8 Passengers, which it's now defunct. Kevin and Ruby kind of started to have, I think, like a little bit of break in the relationship. And I think it was due to Jody Hildebrandt, who is a counselor who owns Connections, which is like a family type of counseling for family and juvenile counseling, something like that. And she has, I think this is my take on it, that she has really come between these two. And she has a history of doing that with couples, causing the couples to split up. And her idea was to tell Ruby and Kevin that in order to solve their problems, that Kevin needed to go away. He needed to leave the family, stay gone, not have any communication with his children, and very little communication with Ruby Franke. And he was gone for a little over a year. And throughout that time, the 8 Passengers channel kind of slowly dissolved, I think. Or Ruby posted less and less till it just became really not even the main point of her life goals, I think. I think she wanted to change the direction of her life and do different things. And she became involved with Jody Hildebrandt, giving, I think she was kind of acting in the sense like an licensed life coach, which there's a lot of controversy over that. Ruby is not qualified in any way. She doesn't have any certification or any training or any school in this area, but she became friends with this Jody Hildebrandt, and they kind of started doing this thing together. And Jody Hildebrandt is based out of Ivins, Utah, which is where the house is that their 12-year-old, or Ruby and Kevin's 12-year-old son escaped from a couple of months ago. He was found in horrible condition, underweight, with marks on his wrist, like he had been detained, as in the 911 call. He was also taken into custody along with two other children that were living in the house, and one of them was kind of in the same condition. It was reported. Oops, something fell back there. Well, Kevin did get an attorney. He is fighting for custody, going to divorce his wife, Ruby. And Jody and Ruby are still in jail. They had a large bail. They did not make any type of bail arrangements or they're not able to get out, apparently. And throughout this time, Kevin was called by Ruby at the point where she was arrested, even though he had no contact or little to no contact with Ruby. Really, there was hardly any communication. It was alleged maybe 3 or 4 times throughout that year that they even spoke, which I find that to be extremely odd. And for him to be in the mindset to follow these instructions by Jody Hildebrandt that he was doing damage to the family by staying, and he desperately wanted to heal things between him and his wife, Ruby. So he went along with what was being said and the instruction that he was given to just go away. And I just find that incredibly odd that he listened to that and that he actually did it. But this Jody Hildebrandt actually talked a lot of the men in the counseling sessions that she had into doing things like this and holding things over them. She has been involved in complaints and I believe some legal action against her because of the things that she has done to other men in the course of what was supposed to be counseling to repair a marriage. They have alleged that she has done everything she can to break up marriages. So that is part of, I think, what Kevin was kind of brainwashed in a way in that fashion. So he did stay away for a while, but then after Ruby was arrested because of the alleged child harming incidents, Ruben and Kevin's house was searched. The children were placed in protective custody. The younger ones were. The two older ones, Sherry and Chad, they're old enough. They have already moved out of the home. And Sherry did initially take the younger children. It's not clear whether they are still with her or in some other type of custody arrangements. And with Kevin getting a lawyer, he filed for divorce on November 29th. And initially, he was going to divorce her because he was very upset about the allegations, everything that was going on. He said that he didn't have anything to do with that. He didn't have any knowledge, which, I do kind of believe that because there was such limited communication. For a husband and wife, to only communicate 3 or 4 times in a little over a year time period, that's, I really believe he probably didn't know what was going on, but that doesn't excuse him from not having a hand in raising his kids. They're still married. He still is a parent to those children. He hasn't given up custody, and he wants to fight for custody now. So I don't understand how a husband with children could just walk off and leave, but that happens all the time. Yet he did it in the course of trying to resolve issues in his marriage and try to repair it and get back together with Ruby, his wife. So the twisted therapy that Jody put him through and the things that she filled his head with were, very harmful. And I think it really worked his sense of what therapy is and what a husband and wife should do to try to reconcile or to resolve issues. And that is not for a couple to split up for a long period of time and not have any communication. That is a total opposite of what they should do. So this did not work at all. And I think he's finally coming around. He's finally got some kind of understanding that he was probably manipulated mentally by Jody, or very clearly manipulated by her. And in the course of all this, he has filed for divorce and he wants custody of the children because clearly Ruby can't do anything. She's still in jail. She's going to be facing a trial and court proceedings. And most likely, I believe that she will get jail time. I really believe, because this is a very severe case. It's just kind of the total opposite of her family vlog channel of what it would represent. And it's kind of, bizarre that it turned out this way. She was operating a family vlog channel, and then it turns out that, she's really hasn't done well with raising her kids and the things that she's done, the damage that she's done to her children. And the daughter, Sherry, and the older son, Chad, they have reconciled with their dad. And I think a lot of that is to benefit his case, but also I think maybe after they got together, they have talked and they have come to some sense, that, or at least Sherry has always had a little bit of sense in her head to, she's tried to call the police. She's tried to have something done about this. She's made reports of child abuse or neglect, and she wasn't taken seriously, but it led to this. And at first, Kevin was a little upset because of when they had searched the house, there was some electronics and some of his personal belongings that were missing. And he did blame Sherry which she did take those things, but she did return them. And there was some other issues going on with, I'm sure, between them, and they have come to, you know, I guess a point in their life where they have reconciled, because he has probably come to some sense too, that this is not any way productive in trying to raise children, or how to operate a marriage with this. I mean, this is a lot of kids, 6 kids, and I don't know, it's just a warped way that they were both, I believe both Kevin and Ruby both had a hand in the warped way that they were raising their kids. They had a lot of very strict and odd ways of dealing with their children. And I think that is the downfall of Ruby. It's all turning against her, because it was all documented. She put everything on camera. And there's a standard issue of domestic relations injunction that was put out for both parties, both Kevin and Ruby, to go by, which it includes 4 stipulations: not to harass each other, not to commit DV against each other, not to demean each other in front of their children, and not to interfere in any financial matters, which means they can't sell property, they can't raid any bank accounts or anything like that. It has to stay within the court's instruction. Now they're in a state. Utah is an equitable division state, so their assets would be probably divided mostly 50-50. I think sometimes there might be a little leeway in whether somebody's going to get more, depending on who's taking care of the kids, which Ruby's in jail. She can't pay child support or anything like that. Although this channel may have made millions, it's been a channel since 2015, a YouTube channel since 2015. So in the course of, it's a little over 8 years, they probably have made quite a bit of money. They did have a large house. They had a few vehicles. They had a large bus, the 8 passengers bus that had the YouTube logo on it, which YouTube probably, it was taken off, and I'm probably at the request of YouTube since all of this happened. And they had over 2 million subs, so it was a large channel. They probably made quite a bit of money, and a lot of this money probably was used for Ruby's criminal lawyer. Now that Kevin has gotten a lawyer, there might be some arrangement with the courts that they are allowed to pay for their legal defense, or something like that may have been worked out so that they can both get lawyers. I don't know how that really works. And they're going to be, I mean, this is going to be I don't know, it's a mess. It's just unbelievable. I think it's just so sad for those kids. But you know, it kind of brought an end to the things that were going on with the way that Ruby and Kevin kind of lorded over their children with, you know, I think the iron-fisted way that she dealt with, mentally, that she dealt with them, the way that there was a lot of mental abuse that I saw in those videos, and a lot of them I had talked about before. The one video where the young girl was upset, Ruby was going to cut the head off her favorite little stuffed toy or something like that. To me, that is so cruel, and that sticks to me. That is probably one of the most horrible videos on that channel, to me personally. I think, you know, to do that to a child that young. And there's other things that they did that were, you know, if you look through YouTube, you can find the reruns and everything. I'm sure a lot of people have seen them, and if you haven't, you can look it up, and there's clips of it all over YouTube. Well, that's all for this right now, but I'll see y'all later. Thank you. Y'all have a good day.